What is up, YouTube boys and girls? Russ Navarro here, Radical Custom Garage. Today I've got another Vevor item that I want to share with you, and then I have a couple things I got from a Harbor Freight and a DeWalt jump starter I got. I just start the new year off. 2026, I believe it is now. And I just kind of wanted to share this item here. It's a Vevor. It's one of the smaller mag drills. I don't know if you guys know anything about the mag drills. I wanted a small one. It's still pretty hefty, but for my rat rod project and things, drilling on the frame and stuff like that, I didn't really need a big one. I paid like $230 some for this. I know you can get a bigger one for around the same price. Vevor has a lot of nice small things. I just want you to understand, a lot of times you get what you pay for. There are more expensive ones out there. I know a couple of guys that bought the more expensive one. I know a gentleman that bought one and he dropped it probably 2-3 months in, and it broke. And the other guy has his, and his has lasted for 4 or 5 years. So, you get what you pay for. I want you to all to understand also, when you get this, they probably mass produce these. And I had a hard time getting the handles to screw in here. And the only thing you really need is to get you one of these. Putting the holes, kind of ream the holes out and that. This is for, once you drill the hole and that, you can clean the, the bits up and things. And this will help you out a lot. Otherwise, these aren't going to screw in very well. What I liked about this particular kit and why I spent a little more on it was, and let me back up here a minute. I don't know if you know what a mag drill is, but you've got your on and off here. And when you set this on metal, and I do a lot of metal work, and that, it probably wouldn't work for you woodwork guys that are out there. But if you've got some metal you need to drill, or you, got a metal workbench or a welding bench, you can put this on, hit this button here, and it'll turn a magnet on the bottom, and it won't go nowhere until you release it. So you can get some nice precision holes most of the time with one of these. It does come with a chuck, drill chuck if you need it, and then it's got the adapter, and you got to slide that up inside. I don't know if I can turn you down here a little bit, but you could put it up in here, and then you got an Allen. Let's see if I can turn this. I ain't got enough horses, but anyway, there's an Allen wrench on each side of that fits in these, so you can get down in there and then tighten that Allen up to where this goes up inside here and locks, and then you can run your chuck. That's the other thing I liked about this particular one. There's a lot of them that come out, and I got this little box here at a flea market to put all the goodies in, but it's got all your different sizes in here. Of course, a lot of them's metric, so you'll have to convert, metric into what size you want. But you get 11 of your bits, and these also are kind of like that other deal adapter. You just slide it up in here and then tighten it down, and it's just one of them things that I really thought I'd share with you guys, especially if you do any metal fab like I do. you know, I've got my shrinker stretchers and different things. But this one I've been wanting for a little while, just for the fact and reason that it's small, compact. I'm not going to have to worry about, you know, drilling any holes with my other drills and that, and trying to hold on to the piece of metal or whatever. You know, I can utilize this enough and connect it to the metal to where it'll hold it in place, and I don't have to worry about moving it or whatever. And I can get my holes marked, and everything will be just the way I want it. The only other thing that I have a complaint about is in the box, we'll turn it around here, it comes with, I don't know what I did with the other piece, but the other piece that goes to this is, it comes with this, you can put your fluid and stuff in it, and you're supposed to be able to attach it to here, and you can run whatever you want for fluid, but you got 3 different height settings wherever you want to put it. But I don't know if the screws didn't come with it, or if you got to get your own, but they didn't provide any of the screws to hold this on with, so I'm going to have to find them. I've looked twice in the box. I've looked in some of the other stuff, and either they just forgot, or you know, you got to provide your own stuff. But that's the only main bitches I do have about this particular Vevor. And I want you guys to understand, you know, nobody sponsored me, nobody give this to me to do this video. This come out of my own pocket. You know, I work in industrial maintenance, and we've had these at work, and you know, we've got a bigger one. It takes about 2 guys to pick it up and carry it around, put it on the machine to drill the holes, but it makes it so much easier when you're doing stuff like that. And if you're any kind of metal fabricator or anything, that's a big word to say, anything like that, you know, the small one I think would be all that you really want or need. You know, I crank it up here so you can see. You know, it goes up pretty tall. This is good for, I think, the DYI guy. I don't know that you know, you'd really need anything any bigger than this. Some of you guys out there might. And I'll let you know more about this as it goes on. But like I said, this was one that was not that expensive. You know, and you guys know, I've told you before, I've got a lot of Vevor stuff. None of it has been sponsored. None of it, you know, I've bought it out of my own pocket. I've got the cutter and the shear that works really well. I use it all the time on my rat rod project. This is just an item that I've been wanting for a while, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Start the new year off right. Like I said, you may have to do a little bit with the screw holes and that to get your handles in there. They were kind of, the drill holes weren't the best. But overall, I think this is a good little item. I'll let you know more about it once I get to using it, and yeah, we'll just go from there. If you have any questions, you know, comment below or whatever, and I'll try to get back with you as soon as I can. But understand, my schedule is very busy, and I only get probably one day a week off if I'm lucky. So once again, Vevor, I haven't really researched how many horsepower and all that stuff. I just kind of wanted to share it with you, and yeah, that's really all I have for you. Let me set this on the ground, and I got something else for you. Oh, and I guess I should say it does come with all the stuff, all your Allen wrenches, you know, your chuck key for the head for your drill press. You can turn it into a drill press or whatever. Let me set this down so I don't drop it. And it does come with a strap, so I guess you could strap it, like, you know, you have it up against something or whatever, you can strap it in place and that, just so it don't slip off, or if it does, it'll hold it in place so it don't fall on the floor or what have you. The next item is a level. I didn't know Harbor Freight had these, and I've been, you know, I've got a laser level that, you know, you could go any direction or whatever, but for the metal fab part of it, like if you're joining two pieces of metal, like you were doing a square or whatever, it'd be nice to have a corner, what I call is a corner level. This is a laser one that they have. It does take batteries. You can angle it, you know, set it down on your metal, and it will go either direction. So you'll know, and it does have the two bubbles on it, so you don't have to have your laser level plus a level on there. Once you put this in the corner and turn it on, it should line up for your corners and that. And then if you want to weld or, you know, whatever you're fabricating, this would be handy. And I know this would be handy for a lot of woodwork guys and that. I believe it's magnetic. I'm not real sure. I didn't even look at that. They don't really say. I haven't looked that close. But they claim you can use this for flooring. You can use it for tile. I'm mainly, because I do a lot of metal work here, you know, I build my own tables and things, and the Rat Rod project. I'm trying to work on getting the rear end and stuff welded up, and, you know, I know that I got the frame pretty well square, and this will help me, you know, get everything the way I want it to be. And my other level, it's more for sitting on a stand and that, and it's just a little bit harder to set up to get it where I want it. And I believe this is going to really help me out in that aspect. And I just kind of wanted to share it with you guys, because I know a lot of you do woodworking, and, you know, there's a lot of metal fab guys out there, and I could see where you guys could use this too, because, you know, trying to get your stuff square and plumb, and it just comes in handy that you have both, to where you're not going to have to run a level and a laser level at the same time, because mine's one of the old school laser levels. It don't have the bubbles in there, to where, you know, it's just got the laser part. And when I seen that, and I was like, well, why should I buy a new one with the bubbles when this was like 29 bucks? And I seen them there at Harbor Freight. And, you know, later on down the road, if I like the way this works and that, I'll buy a more expensive one, or one that, you know, that has it all. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that with you. And it does come with the batteries and that. Most of this stuff don't anymore. You got to get your own. But overall, I think you'd be very happy with this. And yeah, that's all I have for that item. Another item I picked up, and I just think I'll just share it with you guys. They had these levels, metal levels, for $9, almost, you might as well say 10 bucks. Any place else, I think I paid $30 or $40. Let me grab it real quick. For a magnetic try not to bump you guys. This one has 3 magnets. It's a little bit more expensive level. I use it for metal and stuff, and there's metal shavings. This one don't have magnets, but I think you could pop out these deals here. I don't think it's magnetic, but when I seen it and I was looking at it when it was hanging on the deal, I think you could pop them out there and you could glue some of the smaller magnets in, and you'd have just as good as level as this one is. Yeah, this one's a little bit more, you know, I use it for my angles and things. But overall, for $9-10, if you drop this off or drop it on the ground and you're doing something, you break one of the bubbles and what have you, you know, you're not losing a whole lot. And a lot of times, I've ruined a couple of these when I was welding something and the slag had hit the glass in the bubble on that, and it got to the point where it just got dingy and you couldn't see, and so I just would go buy another one. And I have several of these. Like I said, I work in industrial maintenance. Let me put you up here where I can see you a little better. I work in an industrial maintenance in a cookie factory, and you know, we got to do a lot of fabrication and stuff, and hanging conduit and different things. And I work with a bunch of guys that, you know, most of the time, any of their stuff, you know, if you're helping them out or whatever, they want it perfect, and you can't blame them. They want everything. When you look at it, it's plumb, it's perfect, it's not off. You know, there's a lot of places I've went into where you could tell they didn't care how it looked, and you look at the conduit or you look at the piping that they've hung or the airline, and it just looks, in my opinion, unacceptable. And that's kind of why I just bought this, is for a cheap one, and I just kind of wanted to share it with you. It's got your 180, 90, and 45 on there to where you could see. I don't know if it'll focus very well. But, you know, when I seen it and seen $10, you know, I felt kind of, the only thing different with this one is it's got, what do I want to say? It's got the 45 and the 30 on it, where this one doesn't, and it's a lot smaller, as you can see. But, you know, $30 versus $10, you know, I don't know what the difference is. They both look pretty much the same to me. Overall, I think, you know, if you're starting out, especially if these are your new guys to the field, especially in the industrial maintenance, or if you're an electrician, you know, we find them all the time stuck to stuff where electricians had left it, or somebody else, you know, was working on something and they've left their level or whatever. And if you lose this, $10, you can run back down to Harbor Freight and get another one. I know there's a lot of Harbor Freight haters out there, and, you know, that's fine by me. You know, I personally don't think there's that big of a difference between Harbor Freight and some of the other stuff. But a lot of times you get what you pay for. They do have some cheap stuff, throwaway stuff. You use it once, it breaks or whatever. But y'all out there know that there's certain things you just want to stay away from. And there's other things that I have bought that, you know, I was really impressed with. Some of their tools, their Icon tools is one of them. I would buy them every day. Now, some of the cheaper stuff, you know, I have bought it and broke a ratchet, or and I'm not gonna say what it was or anything, but you just know what you're getting when you buy it. It's like anything. I've got a couple of their welders. I got one of their welding carts. Some of the stuff is very well built, sturdy, and there's other stuff, you just got to stay away from. Enough of me rambling. I want to share an item that I think everybody needs to have in their vehicles, because I've been stranded before. Not necessarily stranded, but I was one of the world's worst of not having trailer. Either a spare or something to air up a tire. I used to carry around air tanks, and that kind of got annoying. And I'm sure there's some of you out there. I bought the cheaper jump starters and things. I wouldn't say cheaper, but I bought one from Walmart, and it had the air pump and the start, and it was a small one where you could jump start one time. The air pump on it so much it wouldn't air up it would a car tire, but like a truck tire or a trailer tire, not so much. And I like to be prepared. Both my trailers, right now I'm looking for extra wheels so I can find or put on a spare. And I probably didn't do right with my small trailer. I went and bought some car tires, but at the time, one of them, and they are mismatched, but once again, I had no choice. I had a blowout. I barely made it to a Walmart, bought the tire, put it on the rim, and then about 2 months later, I was just thinking that I needed to go ahead and get another tire. Well, they didn't have that particular tire, and I just happened to go into another Walmart, and I had the rim and tire with me, and they had some on sale. Just so happens that I got the last one. On that particular one, I guess they were out of them or they were discontinuing, so he took and gave me the display. I know you're not supposed to run vehicle tires on a trailer, but it's just one of them things. It was I knew the other side was that way, so I just went ahead and spent the money, got a trailer tire. Anyway, on that aspect, sorry I had to pause for a minute. The DeWalt, I looked at the DeWalt ones, I looked at the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee is one of the better ones, but I was not going to spend $300 and some for a charger that I was going to leave in my truck. And it'd be nice, it'd be handy around here to carry around and that, but in my opinion, that's a little bit pricey for one, and I know they're good. They are the charger and the air pump. But back to what I was saying, this DeWalt one, and this one here is a charger, air compressor. You could charge your phones on it if you had to. You've got your stuff for your air. You turn it on, air up, air down. And then you've got your, this has a set of lights. You turn it on here, if it'll come on. There's your lights. So if you're at night and you're out working, let me set this down. And I'm going to tell you, this is a lot heavier than, the newer style ones. I think this is probably the older type charger. I had a Yamaha one like this, and I loved it to death. It even had two 110 plugs, but it at that time's when the lithium first come out. And I probably had it 6-7 years. Finally, the battery gave up on it. When we had a power outage out here, my wife used it every day for 7 days, and I never charged it, and she used it to curl her hair and that because, excuse me, we didn't have any power. Let me grab a drink here. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, I looked for one. I was kind of in a hurry, and if I find one that I like, I'm going to buy it. This was, I want to say, $159 or $69. I've got it at a Tractor Supply place, and this was the last one, and I've been looking all over town for different ones like this, and they weren't to be found. I know it was after Christmas when I was looking and that, but if you don't have one of these to throw in your car or put in all, I would suggest having one in every car you drive. They're just handy to have. This one, I haven't got to use it. I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't read up on it at all. But if you don't have a charger or some way to jumpstart, especially with a cold season coming along and that, or where you could use this to help somebody get their car going, they're just handy. And I've got a couple of the smaller ones. Like I said, I bought one from Walmart. It was my fault. I plugged it in here, and thank goodness I had it on a plug breaker. I left it plugged in for almost 3 days. I come back out, and it had literally melted the case on it. It blew the case up. I'd had it for a couple years. I jump-started several cars, but it was one of them that you could only get one jump start out of it. And like I said, the air pump on it was just not what I felt it should have been. This one should do the trick. I mean, it's got a loud pump. You got to have it hooked to the tire to get it to work. It's just one of them things that when you're out, especially when I had my flat tire at Lowe's, if I'd had this, I could have aired it up and then moved my trailer. I had a fencing project on top of my big trailer, and the tire was just a little low. And I knew better when I moved it that I should have just went and got an air pump and that. Well, I rolled the tire off the wheel. Luckily, I got a hold of a buddy. He brought me a big air tank, an air compressor that he had, and we jacked the trailer up, pulled the trailer tire off, got it back on the wheel, and that made it back home. But if I'd have had this, I could have put some air in that tire real quick, and I probably wouldn't have rolled it off the rim. And then, once again, that was my fault because I had too much weight on there. But, at the time, I really didn't want to wait on paying them because I had guys lined up for the next day to come out and do the fencing project. And, I probably should have had them deliver it, but it had been a couple days, and I didn't know these guys were free at the time, and they wanted to come out and get it done. So, it was just one of them things. But I really think if you don't have any kind of jump starter or air compressor, you really need to look into it and get one of these. And I think you'll be happy, with whatever you buy. Just go out, research it, look on Amazon, look on different places, Google, one of the best jump start things. But like I said, I really think you need one, especially with winter coming along. I know we don't get bad winters here as bad as up north and things, but I hate to see somebody stranded, and you probably could get going down the road if you had one of these. that's really all I have for you guys. I just want to kind of start the new year out right. You know, I haven't done a whole lot of videos here in a while. I really like to do more videos and things. It's just finding the time to do it. I enjoy doing the videos. You know, I don't have a lot of subscribers like a lot of other YouTubers and things, and you know, they get residuals off of them or whatever you want to say, and that really not a big deal. It would be nice to be able to pay for some of the stuff that I do show you. You know, like I said, I have a lot of Vevor stuff. There's a lot of Harbor Freight, Milwaukee, DeWalt. You know, I'm very diversified. You know, I try to share some of my projects with you guys and that. And, you know, that's the whole thing. And that's why I've stuck with the YouTube channel. And I don't do it that much because, you know, until I can quit my job or retire, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because it pays the bills and that. I'm going to get back to you guys on the project that I've been working on for my, what do I want to say, my socket rails. You know, I took all my socket rails out and I went with the purple, I can't think of what, the tool grid stuff. And the tool grid's kind of slowed down because I haven't got all of my stuff, and I think it's probably because of Christmas and that. But I'm at a standstill, so my shop is a disaster right now. And, you know, once I get that done, I'll show you the tool grid, what it looks like. But overall, I just want to wish everybody a happy new year, and I hope everybody is gonna have a great new year, and just, you know, be kind to people. You know, don't take others for granted. You know, we all have a hard way of dealing with life, I guess. You know, we have good days, we have bad days. There's people out there that, you know, they don't like life, and, you know, they want to make others just as much miserable as what they are. And if you can, just grin, bear it, and go on. And I shouldn't say because I'm one of the world's worst. You know, if somebody says something to me, you know, I'm going to jump down their throat or whatever. But just try to stop, think, and just be kind to one another. That's, you know, we're all here on a short time, and, you know, if we can make somebody else's life a little bit better, let's try to do that. That's really all I have. If you like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that subscribe button down there. Still at 995. I'd like to at least get 1,000 this year subscribers. You know, please help support the channel. That'll help me. I really have thought about doing some t-shirts and stuff, but until I hit the 1,000 mark, you know, I don't think it's in the cards. I don't want to go out and spend a whole lot of money, and not a whole lot of people want my shirts or things. I've got a guy that told me that, you know, if I get a certain amount, he'll, I've known him for a while, and he'll do my shirts for me. You know, they're a decent shirt, but, you know, I would like to really go into having more of a custom shirt, you know, that has, you know, nice writing, and you guys would get, you know, your money's worth. I don't want a shirt that's you put it on and wear it 4 or 5 times and it's faded. But enough about that. Like, subscribe, share. God bless. Have a blessed rest of the week, and we'll see you in the next video.